Well, good evening and welcome to A Walk Down Memory Lane. I'm your host, Earl Baisden. I'm waiting for my co host, Dennis Brown, and we are joined by Keith Fisher and Steve Bean, members at the time, uh, people who put together our first Davis Cup team. Steve as a player, Keith Fisher as one of the organizers of Bermuda Lawn Tennis Association, actually the president at the time. And I'm going to start with you, Keith, because I think it's important that what drove you to decide that Bermuda should be a part of the Davis Cup? You just have to unmute your mic. Your mic muted. Yeah. Just hit the button where it's got the mic, got the axe through it.
Okay, here we are.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess I came on board the BLTA in about 1989. I was vice president to Alan Simmons then. And then in 1992, I took over and Alan switched roles, right? Frankly, he was the vice president. And we had a very vibrant club and tournament scene in those days, but it was all local. We did have some very good male players that some of them went to college, and most of them, the better ones, had exposure abroad, but there was nothing to incent them beyond the local tennis scene. So the best of those players, they had to hope, I guess, for ad hoc opportunities that might or might not happen, Pan Am and CAC games. And the other thing that I noticed was that we had got an embryonic national junior development program, but there was no carrot for our top juniors. What happened to our top juniors? And then Alan, who used to travel overseas and had good contacts, presumably at the ITF, said to me one day, we should try and join the ITF. And I jumped on it. I just thought it was the best thing to try to add those two building blocks, an incentive for our very best players to go to Davis Cup, represent their country, and for the top juniors to get exposure overseas, because you can be a big fish in our little pond, and it's the same for every sport in Bermuda. We have some wonderful talent, but you've got to get out and compete overseas. And that vibrant tennis scene that we had, we also had a little bit of luck, because we actually joined the ITF. We joined the ITF in 1994, but before that, we had set up a national junior program. And in 1993, Alec Anderson established the XL Classic, which was a pro tournament, set at Coral Beach. So all of our top juniors were able to be ball boys there. Mm-hmm. And so it really added to the local club and tournament scene when the kids became ball boys, and they actually practiced at the local tournaments as well. And then in 1994 we actually joined the ITF, and so 1995 we had the first Davis Cup in DR. And 1996, we had the first Fed Cup, which is now Billie Jean King Cup, mm-hmm. in Dominican Republic as well, in Casa de Campo. Is that a long answer to a short question?
Well, you gave us a good answer. And let me just quickly bring Stevie in. Steve, you're going to unmute your mic as well. When you hear the fact that there's an opportunity for you guys to now play international event, how exciting was you about, just hearing that there's a possibility you're going to be playing in the Davis Cup as a young player?
Wow. I want to just reiterate what Mr. Fisher just said about there being no real incentive to put in the long, hard hours that are required. I think back then, the highlight of anybody's tennis experience was perhaps playing in college.
Yes.
There were very few opportunities outside of Pan Am Games or something that only come around every now and then, and oftentimes we weren't even a part of it.
Right.
I can remember Steve Alder playing in an event or two, and maybe Bruce Sims, but most of us hadn't had any kind of exposure like that at all. So the opportunity to play Davis Cup, man, everybody, there was a buzz in the air around all the top players.
Yeah.
Donald Evans.
Yes.
Michael Wade.
Yeah.
Billy Wade and Steve Bean were the first four that were able to participate in the Davis Cup. I will never forget that in Dominican Republic, as Mr. Fisher already said. And when we went there, I mean, we were green to a certain extent, to a large extent. We were rookies in competition like that. But we went there and competed to the best of our ability, had some close sets. We won no matches, we beat no countries, but we were competitive in sets. We would lose a set. You got to start from somewhere. And we lose a match, maybe Mr. Fisher 6-2, 6-4, 7-5. So we started getting a little competitive. And since that first Davis Cup, every year over time, we've been more and more competitive. Mr. Fisher, I want to commend you on one thing, because there were some echoes in the background that Bermuda is not ready for Davis Cup at the time. And you were saying, I remember you saying, you got to get these guys in. You got to start at some point. And look what has transpired. Division 2 this year for the first time.
It gives me goosebumps, frankly, because, not everybody on the committee by any means. I think, some of the committee members were attached to Coral Beach, and they had the USTA, and they had a thriving international scene of their own. So I don't think ITF was front and center with them, even though Michael and Billy, like yourself, were amongst the first to play. The fact that you say that we were green, I think three of you at least, I'm not sure about your own self, I think you were late to tennis.
Yes.
Three of you, I think, played college tennis. But the average age of the team in 1995, I did a little bit of homework before this chat this evening, was 33 years of age. And so all of you, good players. I mean, Billy, Donald, Michael, yourself, Ricky, who didn't play that year, Ricky Mallory.
He was in college at the time and couldn't get away.
Okay, but the average age of that team was 33, and that is past your prime.
Yeah.
It's and even 2 years later in 1997, looking at some numbers today, the average age went down to 29 in 1997, and so that was a step, if you will, to getting guys closer to their prime. And if you look at it this year, the average age of the board is under 23.
Okay.
even though you've got Wayne Montgomery, who has obviously been a fabulous player.
Yeah.
Who's a little older, and I'm not familiar with him, but I know he's got a very good pedigree.
Of course.
So we are now where we would want to be.
Of course.
guys who are not at their prime. You know, the average age 23. They're not at their prime then, are they?
No.
So I think we've done well over the years. The way in which you guys have all developed and taken the opportunity, it really thrills me.
Yeah, Mr. Fisher, let me ask you, administratively, what were the challenges in getting these guys into the Davis Cup?
I can't think of anything to answer that question. Administratively, I think we had a little bit of. Well, I probably can answer it better with an anecdote, which isn't related to the Davis Cup so much as the Fed Cup, because the ITF, I think, were pleased that we joined, and I can't remember any particular obstacles that they put in front of us. But anecdotally, the next year we had a Fed Cup team. The ladies, with respect, were never as deep in quality as the men in Bermuda in terms of quantity of them. And we had 2 ladies that were over a certain age that were the best that we had.
Yes.
Best. And we submitted our application, to play in the Dominican Republic at Casa de Campo for these ladies. And the ITF came back and politely said that they would allow us to field the team we had submitted this year, but in future years, they wanted us to concentrate on younger players because it was an opportunity for them rather than ladies of a certain age.
Of course.
One of those ladies of a certain age was easily our best player, and the other one was definitely in top 4.
Right. So, Steve, in preparation for the Davis Cup, what was the training regimen like? Did you have to step up a gear?
You had to step up a gear. First of all, you had to qualify. Fortunately, there were many players, male players, that were active in the tournament. The tournament scene was healthy back then, Mr. Fisher. There were tournaments all the time. So whenever an international event came up, you already knew who were the top players, especially among the men.
Yes.
And so if there was any doubt as to, who should be the 3rd or 4th player, then that player would have to go through a playoff. And whoever won that will be selected for the team. But I can remember if we were in Dominican Republic, our first experience was on clay. So we had to move our training over to Coral Beach, and we used to train there, several times a week in preparation for, our Davis Cup experience. So yes, we had to step it up, and Bermudians, most of us were at home, so we could train together as a team. Unlike today, Trey and Daniel are overseas.
Yeah.
Wayne Montgomery resides in Bermuda, so he's able to train. And Zach McGuire, the young junior that's been selected, 17 years old, goes 18 this year.
Right.
He and Wayne have been able to train here, but Trey and Daniel is spending most of their time overseas.
Right.
Trey, let me go on to say that Trey came back today in order to hit with Wayne.
Beautiful.
So that those two can, establish some kind of team spirit, some kind of camaraderie. I don't think they know each other that well.
Yeah.
And so they're out there training now, and what a difference it makes.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but getting back to your question, we had to step up our training because Davis Cup for the first time, we didn't know what level to expect. We had to try to get as prepared as we could. But thanks for that question.
Yeah, you were also playing football at the time. Was that the time you decided to take a break from football to concentrate on tennis?
I had taken a break from football, serious football, before that. Hence, I got into the tennis and started playing a lot more tennis.
Right. Okay. Okay. Mr. Fisher, you mentioned that, and Steve has mentioned that the tournaments were healthy back then, and there were abundance of tournaments. Did that make it a lot easier for the administration to look at players on at different times?
Well, we had a ranking system, and those that were here, rose to the top. Ricky Mallory comes first to mind because I think he was here longer than Michael Way and Donald. They were abroad, I think, much earlier than Ricky. So, yes, I mean it helped the cream to come to the top without a doubt. And we would have probably about 5 or 6 tournaments a year, wouldn't we, Steve?
Yes, just around the time too.
Yeah,
just around the time for Davis Cup.
Each of the clubs would have a tournament. So that was Port Royal, Pomander Gate, Grotto Bay, Coral Beach,
Old Bermuda,
and the BOTA. I think we used to run 2 in the first days. I think we cut it back to 1.
Yes,
because it was such a burden, to try and find the resources to do it, and there were so many. But also the Winter League was a very active club scene, but that didn't help us find the top players. To answer your question, the tournaments gave us a ranking system, and that pretty much told us who were the best of the players.
Right.
The problem was, as I say, that some of our very best, like Billy Way, who was 33 at the time of the first Davis Cup, which was obviously past his prime, he was overseas, and Michael and Donald were as well.
Steve, having to switch to the clay courts, how difficult is that? Because if you've played 5 years of just playing on hard court, and now you've got to go to this tournament that you have to step up, and now you're playing on a different surface, how challenging was it for you as a player?
Let me answer it like this. I mean, a forehand is a forehand. However, on the clay, the ball bounces differently.
Yeah.
And even the top players in the world, all the Sinners and Alcaraz and Sabalenkas, when they are switching from hard court to the French Open on clay or Wimbledon on grass, you notice they play tournaments leading up to whatever Grand Slam there is and whatever surface it's on.
Yes.
So it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. The ball bounces different. The pace of the ball is different. And you would do yourselves well to prepare on whatever surface you're going to use, and also whatever bowl you're going to use, because there's a difference in the bowls as well.
Okay.
And again, this year we're going over to Georgia. Last year we played, Mr. Fisher, we played in Costa Rica indoors.
Indoors, that's right.
Boy, I'm telling you, and we had gone up like a week before and had the opportunity to practice indoors.
Yeah.
What a difference. The first 2 or 3 sessions, the balls were flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Had we not gone up days early and had the practice on the court, we probably would not be going into Division 2 this year. That's how much of a difference it makes.
Yeah, was Costa Rica at altitude as well, or was it just
it's a better altitude as well?
Yeah. That makes the ball go faster, doesn't it?
Faster, bounces higher.
Yeah. No, it was a huge challenge, Dominican Republic. First time.
Yeah. I noted a couple of years ago when Bermuda played in the Nations League, they played in Davis Cup in Costa Rica as well, but they played outdoors on a clay court, if I'm not mistaken. And that just being out there, seeing the challenges that obviously that red clay is a little thicker than than what anybody's used to in Bermuda, because you don't often get an opportunity to even train on it, let alone play on it. So
That's right.
you know, it's a little heavier. So you know,
Yes, it's a little heavy. So now my footing is different.
right?
I've seen guys in the first day or two, young teenage guys cramping up
Yes,
because they're playing on the red clay and not used to it.
right.
Together with the humidity and heat and whatnot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Fisher, when did the tennis stadium get those clay courts on the outside there? How long have they been there?
I think the stadium had clay courts, period,
Right.
and then the government decided that they wanted to limit the amount of clay courts. Was it maintenance and expense that drove that, Steve? I can't remember now, but we were left with 3 clay courts.
Yes.
Rather than we gained 3 clay. We were left with 3 clay courts and we gained hard courts in their place. In other words, before that we had 5 or maybe even 7.
Yes.
Was it 5 or 7? Maybe 5 and 2
3.
hard courts.
7.
It was 7 hard clay. We had 7 clay at first, and that was, for the traditionalists, that was a very tough conversion. But government had their views and their needs, and so we had to work with them on that. But I think the glass was half full because we still have 3 clay courts, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I only asked that question, Steve, only because you guys said you guys had to train up at Coral Beach. Was that due to having lights at the time, and you guys were training evenings?
We were training evenings, but more because that's the surface we're playing on. Even now, if we are playing on clay, we will go to Coral Beach and train on their surface.
Okay.
Right. This year we're playing on hard courts.
Yes.
And we're training here at Temple on the hard courts. But yeah, it was mainly to get on the courts.
Right. And let me ask you, Steve, how much of your hitting increased in preparation for that? Because I mean, you go out for tournaments or you go out for training, but now you're getting ready for the tournament, quote unquote, of your lifetime. So
yes.
how much of your hitting increased in preparation for Davis Cup?
For many of us, if you're a serious tennis player, you're hitting balls. What improves is the quality of your hits. Now I'm training with the top players on the island every time I go out on the tennis court. So I wouldn't say the quantity of the volume of the strokes, hitting shots changed drastically, but the quality certainly did.
Okay.
Hence, I'm Wayne Montgomery and Trey hitting now.
Yes.
Ordinarily those guys, and even like Mr. Fisher, Michael Wade, and Ricky Mallory and Donald Evan, those guys were as opposite as it comes. But during Davis Cup, they were rivals. Otherwise, they didn't train together.
Right.
But once Davis Cup was upon us, you'll find them hitting all the time.
Yeah. I particularly remember Donald being very, very motivated and excited by the opportunities that Davis Cup gave him. I think one of the challenges this time, and I've got great hopes for the boys because, Dan and Trey, have modest pro rankings now, and Wayne Montgomery's obviously been a fabulous player, and it'll be a great experience for Zach. But I think one of the main challenges this year is that Dan, because he's at Tulane now, he's number 1 at Tulane. They actually had a college tennis match on February the 7th, which is when the match against Georgia they moved the match to February 3rd, but he still got to play. So he's not with the boys now, and he won't be until February the 5th, which is the eve of the
Yeah.
first match, which is
Okay.
just a terrible shame.
That's that.
But
And we're leaving. The team is leaving on just to you highlight your point. The team is leaving on the 30th
exactly
of
Friday.
January. Daniel
Right.
doesn't get there to the 5th.
right. So they'll have
So-
6 days together, and
Yeah.
I mean he'll be match fit, and
Yes, of course.
hopefully he'll.
It's
Live
the
in
worry.
one
I guess just hearing that, the worry would be the travel and how
Yeah.
well he travels
Yeah.
after playing on the 3rd, leaving on the 4th, and getting there on the 5th. That's
Yeah.
going to be the only concern, how he recovers that night and heading into the game the next day. So,
Of course.
but
He's a-
hopefully
he's a
the youthfulness takes over.
I was just about to say he's a young man.
Yeah.
I know he's very motivated because.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, excuse me, something fell.
No worries.
Forget
No
it.
worries. So after that first year, Mr. Fisher, what was next for these guys? What was Davis Cup every 2 years then, or was it every year?
No, it was every year, and from my homework today, because my memory needed a bit of homework. You played in 1996 somewhere, but I'm not sure.
El Salvador.
And they won their first match
Yes.
that year.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but 1997 I remember better.
Back in
Because
Bermuda, yes.
because that was in Bermuda.
Yes.
And I think we won 2 out of 3 and got promoted to Group 3, America's Group 3.
Absolutely.
And so I remember that better. And
that was my first year as captain.
Okay, and the reason that I remember that was it was Ricky Mallory's first year.
Yes.
But also it was James Collison's first year, because by that time he'd matured enough to be part of that team, and he was only 21, was he? 21? I've got it down here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think he was 21 then. I think he'd had a crack at the qualifiers at the Excel Classic that year as well, and I think he was probably at college at that point in time.
Yeah, he was.
North Carolina or Alabama, one of those. So it was played in Bermuda, and we did well, didn't we?
Right down at the Southampton Princess down below.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's where we played. And the players were housed up at Southampton Princess.
Not all of them.
All the countries.
The Antigua team were in our lower apartment.
Okay, look at that. and they loved it, man. The players from the various countries spoke of the Davis Cup in Bermuda for years after that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Putting that together locally. Obviously, Steve, you're putting your team together. Mr. Fisher, you're as part of the LOC, just making sure that everything is required. It's got to be a big undertaking, isn't it?
Huge. I mean, I was responsible for the team. And by then, we're our 3rd year in Davis Cup. We got a little feel for the competition and who's who and whatnot, feeling no more comfortable. Partner, if you're playing in your country, your home country, you got to put your best foot forward. And that's just what we did. I'll never forget us being promoted that year.
Who else was a member of that team?
Donald Evans, Ricky Mallory, Michael Way, and James Collison.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Because I think that was the year that Billy was killed, wasn't it?
Yes, Mr. Fisher.
Yeah, Billy Way lost his life in 1996, which was so sad.
Tragic,
Yeah.
But
sorry. Well, no, he'd been a very good player, a very, very good player, Billy. He used to Gabriele Sabatini used to knock with him before the US Open each year, as I understood it. Michael would be able to tell you more, and Brian. But he and Stephen Alger in 1991, I got a bronze medal at the CAC game.
CAC, yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, he was a very good player, great player.
Served and volleyed a lot back in that day. Yeah.
The strengths of the team that you had in Bermuda, Steve, what would you say were their best tools?
We had such an all-round team. Donald Evans, of course, had the big serve and volley game. Ricky Mallory, very fit, very physical player, outstanding off the ground. And Michael Way, I guess, was kind of like a balance between the two because Mike went forward a lot too. And all of them were very good. They were all around the same level and could beat each other at any given time. So when you went from player 1 to player 2, you're not losing anything. So because of our depth, we were able to, and Mr. Fisher, our last match against OECS, Eastern Caribbean is what we beat them to be promoted. We split the singles. I'll never forget. And Ricky Mallory and Donald Evans won the doubles. But my point is, we were so deep with our talent, everybody could beat each other, that oftentimes when we went from one player to the next, we're not losing anything. Whereas other teams would have to sometimes play the same two guys that played singles that they play them in doubles because the third and fourth was a step below. And if you've been out on the courts for 2-3 hours out in the Bermuda humidity and heat, you can't be that prep for the doubles. Doubles is 30 minutes after your second singles.
Right.
That was our strength.
Over the years, we found ourselves having to do the same thing as well, haven't we?
Yes.
In Davis Cup, because obviously the third and fourth player, you want to give them something, but that step below, and then obviously the number 1 and number 2 have been burnt out by playing singles, but still have to try and get up to salvage something. So
Well, let me give you a little tip though. But the last couple of years, 2 years in a row, we've beaten Jamaica.
Yes,
that's a great.
Before we never beat Jamaica, okay?
No,
but here, Daniel and Trey, we've learned that we cannot beat Jamaica's number 1 player.
Right.
So we more or less sacrifice whoever's playing against him. Go there, do the best that you can.
Yes.
And whoever's playing a number 2 player, you have got to win.
Yes.
And then we've come down to our doubles. And the past couple of years, Daniel and Trey have been outstanding in doubles. Before that, it was more Gavin and Jensen. Same kind of thing.
Yes.
Ricky and Jensen. Jensen's been around for a while. But we've always had very good doubles. And every time we've been promoted, it's been because of our doubles. Yes, we're going to win one of these singles too.
Yes,
but when it comes down to doubles, we've been like one of the best countries there.
So Mr. Fisher, obviously, when you and Mr. Simmons decided let's move forward in this, did you see 35 years down the road or 30 years down the road, Division II is in sight?
No, not at all. Not at all. My emphasis in my mind, I wouldn't say I was around to see any of it happen, but I remember a successor of mine as the president somewhere down the line was talking about our ambition was to get young players to Wimbledon, and I thought that was outrageous. My thought at the time was to get young players to college on a tennis scholarship so they could get a rounded education based on their tennis. So that doesn't answer your question. 35 years hence, gosh, no, I never thought that we would be challenging to go into World Group 2. it hangs on one match against an Eastern European team that's population and is gazillions more than ours, as all of the countries are. I think that Bermuda's about half the size of any of the other teams we ever play in Davis Cup in terms of population. So absolutely not. It's a thriller. It's really taken my imagination. Having been involved all those years ago, I've followed it from afar. I haven't followed it for closely for many years, but it's really captured my imagination. I wouldn't have believed it, and I think if we're honest, it's a once in a generation thing, because what we've got right now are two young men plus Wayne, who has been there. I mean, I believe he lost to Kyrgios in the quarterfinals of the Australian Open Juniors.
Yes,
that's how good he was in playing for South Africa. But this is the first time, I think, Steve, you chip in, but first time we've had two young men who have reached a level where, hey, if Georgia doesn't play Bashashvili, who probably doesn't play for the Davis Cup team anymore, he's a player, and he's still about in the hundreds, I think. But if they play the two players that played in their most recent Davis Cup, one's 600 in the world and one's 1,000 in the world.
Yeah,
hey, we've got our chances. Young boys, and throw in Wayne, and no disrespect to Zach, I don't know if he's going to be that active this year because he's only 17. I don't know him, so I'm talking out of turn. Hey, this doesn't last forever either.
No.
Because let's say Trey and Dan are around for 2 or 3 more years, and then life kicks in. Who's taking over from one of them or both of them? It's for an island like us, getting 2 boys as good as those at one time is fabulous. Trey obviously helped very much by his dad, and Dan helped very much by an ambitious mum, and Sammy Mabry. That's how we've gotten to this point, and it's a great achievement that they've got this far already.
Yeah.
It will be fantastic if they are able to achieve it. I think they've got their chances.
Yeah. Let me tell you. Let me mention just one thing, and to emphasize the point that you made. Daniel, I was talking to Daniel and Trey last year at the Davis Cup, and they were asking me who else in Bermuda is coming along.
Right.
And I mentioned some of the juniors that are here, and I told them what they're doing. Daniel and Trey both laughed. And they said that there's no way that those guys will be able to make it to the level that we are playing at the rate that they're going. When you look at, and we've been blessed, you just said it, we've been blessed to have Daniel and Trey. They've been blessed to be able to, enjoy the experiences that they've had, as they were growing up in tennis world. But ain't nobody else coming behind them that's putting in the kind of effort that they put in. And what they were saying is that if you are not putting in this kind of effort, you cannot be at this level.
Well, it's absolutely right. It's extraordinary. Yeah. It's an extraordinary tough sport, tennis. Yeah. I mean, the best we've ever had was Stephen Alger getting to 457, I think it was, back in 1981. And he had a dad who was a very, very good player, just like Ricky's got Trey, and Dan had Sam. But that doesn't happen all the time.
No.
We're really fortunate to have these guys at the moment. Yeah, I mean, 457 in the world, Steve Alger got to. I'm hoping Dan's going to do better than that. I mean, he's
Okay.
still got 2 more years at college, and
Yes.
he's still keen. He's still keen to carry on.
Well, we are joined by my co-host Dennis Brown. Dennis, I got your former teammate with you.
Yes, he is.
Ronnie, how's things, buddy?
As one of my football teachers when I first came into the first division in Somerset.
Hello.
How you been, guys? Keith?
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Good. I just in another very, very, very important meeting, so couldn't get away. So I sent Earl a message to let him know I was going to be late. So.
Yeah, we've covered quite a bit, but did you have any questions for either Mr. Fisher or Steve?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so I'm going to ask Steve first, because I have written them down today. How did playing football for Somerset in the 80s influence your athletic development? Because I remember, I think you were just kicking into tennis. I think you used to play at David Sabur a lot back in those times.
That'll be a secret.
I got a very good memory.
Yes, you certainly do.
So I remember you and David used to, play a little bit of tennis. Because I used to play tennis with Lance during the off season.
Yes.
Kept me sharp. So
Yeah.
how did playing football, now you're going into tennis, how did that develop your athletic development?
Well, two things, and Mr. Fisher, you can attest to this. You grew up in Dockyard, right? I grew up in Dockyard, where there were many young boys around my age, and every day after school and certainly weekends, we ran around playing football or cricket or we were always being active. When I got into football playing for Somerset Trojans, work ethic was one thing that I learned, and winning became part of, my DNA. And so when you ask me how did football and Somerset Trojans help in my development, those two areas, work ethic, train hard, and winning becoming something that you are very accustomed to. So when I shifted over to tennis, I was already fit. I already know how to move my feet. I'm very competitive. And one thing, growth starts to take place. And before you know it, I was playing, beside some of the top players in Bermuda in tennis. David Sabur was very much a part of my early development, and he and I used to have a ball playing tennis, as well as some others, Stanfield Smith, Gledwin Lambert, and those guys. I messed up my knee, had left football and started playing tennis because I couldn't kick. And then I never really went back to football in a serious way. I started playing more and more tennis.
More tennis, yeah. Okay.
That's how that went.
I remember playing against you. You were for Port Royal, and I used to play with Commander Gate.
Yes. Oh, well, for years, actually.
Yeah, I think he used to win more than we did.
Well, Sammy Mabry and Ricky Maru.
Howard Cross. Yeah, we used to play tennis like when we knocked off in the prison. We used to go to Villa Bank and play tennis. And unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, a question for Keith. What was the biggest lesson you learned from competing against international opponents? So you're going from Bermuda playing locally, now you're going international. What was some of the biggest lessons that you learned playing in that environment?
I'm really not the one who's qualified to answer it, but I have my views. You had to, in my mind, if you didn't go to college and play college tennis, you very unlikely to be able to develop the skills locally. You had to, college tennis is the easiest vehicle, I think, to develop overseas, and I think that's probably the best vehicle for international competition or overseas competition. You have to get out of the local pond. That would be my first and only observation from those days, and that sort of developed my own thought that as a tennis association we should try to get our kids to colleges on tennis scholarships. That would have been the highlight of, I think, if we ever managed to achieve that. I think nowadays a lot of the kids have gone to tennis academies. I've got some mixed views on that, because I don't think you necessarily get an education that way. But you've got to get off the island, and most of the players that we saw in Davis Cup in those first couple of years only solidified that thought for me.
Okay, one more question, Earl, for Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, when it comes to just a meeting talking about mental toughness and high performance. What role, right, did football play in your mental toughness, like during close matches or hostile environments? What role did mental toughness play for you when you went into this environment?
Upbringing has a lot to do with mentality. And again, growing up our dark yard, where I had to pretty much fend for myself in many ways. Yes, I had parents who, provided for me, but when you went outside and you were playing whatever sport, oftentimes it's all you. My parents never carried me to football games, or even when I went into tennis, no, it was all me. So you develop a lot. On the other hand, kids today, for lack of a better term, they got very little dog in them. Can I use that expression and everybody understand what I mean? I coach tennis, Braun, and some of these kids get lessons after lessons after lessons, and at the end of it all, they may go off to a university. They may or may not play. We have kids that are going off to tennis academies, Mr. Fisher, and quit halfway during the academy.
Yeah.
Getting back to my point, the mentality that you adopt when you're around like-minded Trojans, Dennis. Look, you mentioned Dennis Braun, Lou Simmons, the names go on and on.
Lance Braun.
That's right. He and I were tight, man.
Yeah.
So you're on competitors like that, and we guys competed, in everything, even by playing cards or whatever. So you develop that kind of mentality. Yeah. Just being around athletes like that, certainly playing football, going to finals, playing against Village and PHC and all that kind of stuff from a young age. I played my first division game when I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
Judge Simmons, Larry Hunt, and Rudy Miners, all those type of guys, right? And you have a winner's mentality. You're not taking no for an answer. Certainly, that came from the team aspect. So when I moved into tennis, I carried that kind of mentality, the mental strength, and let's face it, tennis, a large percentage of it is your mentality.
Oh, sure.
How tough are you?
There's only you.
Give me a person that is mentally tough. I can overlook, or I'm not necessarily judging a player by how talented they are, whether it's tennis or any other sport. Everybody, talent doesn't really move me. How ambitious are you? How much do you really want to win? And we can work from there. I think that holds true with every top athlete. I don't care what sport it is.
Yeah.
You know who comes to mind? You know who comes to my mind when you say that, Steve, amongst the youngsters when I was involved was David Thomas.
David Thomas, okay.
And David Thomas, when we started the national program, I don't think he'd mind me telling you now, because he became a very good player. I would never have put money on David, even developing a backhand.
That's right.
He was very green, but he had the mentality, and he became a good player, didn't he?
Yeah, certainly. He was number one for a while.
I could not believe how well he had done, and that was mentality. He didn't have the natural gift.
No, he didn't.
And when you guys talk about mentality, because I watch most sports, and my favorite tennis players of all time basically came in the same era. So Federer was one of my ultimate favorites.
Okay.
Nadal was my ultimate favorite, and even Djokovic. Like so in the top matches, like, you know, if you want to beat those guys, you gotta go 5 sets.
Yes. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So those guys had a mentality that, I mean, Djokovic has it now at like, I think it's like 38 or something like that, but he still has that mentality. You beat him, you gotta go 5 sets. You're not good to beat him in straight sets and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like Steve said, because me as a football coach, talent is just a part of it.
Yes,
absolutely.
Right? Talent means talent's okay, but to me, it's the mentality, what you're bringing to the table.
Thank you.
The work ethic.
Absolutely. Work ethic.
We have to ask ourselves why there have been early in the Premier Division in England, Clive Best, Sean Gooder, Kyle Lightfoot.
Okay.
The key routes in the lower division.
Yes.
Right? Because why have so many Bermuda footballers failed? It's because of the mentality.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's something I would like at some point for all sports to come together, all Bermuda sports like football, cricket, tennis, and whatever, and just talk about, you know, our sports, because we'll find that we have a lot in common when it comes to developing talent, but they are now, some of them don't go to the next level, you know, which we expect. You know what I mean? So that can be something that we could talk about as well, you know. But so my last thing, what role should former elite players play in mentoring or guiding young? So for you guys, for guiding young tennis players, what is your role right now for mentoring not just players but coaches? Because Steve's been a coach for a while, and I see how he got Evan into the coaching part of it as well. So what is the role of the elite players like yourself, Ricky, and the other guys in relation to mentoring the next generation coming through?
Okay, I think good. That's what it's all about for us right now. And I would, in one word, I would say we're going to put ourselves in a position where we give back. Mr. Mr. Fisher, you've been president of the BILTA. You've been a player. You've involved yourself in every aspect of tennis. I'm taking it from a coach's point of view, and I've made myself available to the BILTA and to local tennis, for years and years and years. So my involvement is from the coaching point of view. Juniors, as well as seniors, the top players, as well as lay people that play tennis. I'm out on the tennis courts 7 days a week, still loving it. And as soon as I get off this podcast, I'll be going out. I have men's night tonight. And I'm still enjoying every minute of it. Trust me.
Fish?
Well, as soon as I finish this, I'm going to sit down and watch Rybakina versus Swiatek. Give back is important. I'm not as involved at all with tennis anymore, but on the tennis scene, I helped Dan Phillips' mum with every aspect behind the scenes of Dan, and on the football scene, Dennis, I was, your face was pointed out to me at Somerset because because I help Javi De Rosa with
Javi, okay,
with his football development,
okay,
on the administrative side. So I still like to give back in my own way, and
right.
I feel it's essential that players, Steve was very generous to call me a player. I was a player with a small p. You're talking about elite players or good players. You're not talking about Keith Fisher. And it's essential that we have the Steve Beans and the Ricky Mallorys and Gavin Manders. I think he and Jackson.
Right.
They were stalwarts in the Davis Cup for 15 years, I think, both of them. But they're both giving back tremendously in coaching. Gavin's gone a bit rogue, hasn't he, with pickleball? But something's got to pay the bills. My own daughter's gone the same way with her pickleball. But it's essential. We need those role models, but all of them need to get their youngsters off island to compete. And develop the mentality. It's such a small island, and we're so challenged because we're a couple of hours from the nearest mainland, so it's expensive as well to get overseas.
Right.
And before Earl goes, I was just at Somerset Cricket Club on Sunday. I had a meeting with some my old Bantam team, because this year is the 50th year that we were the first youth team, the junior team before us in 75. They actually went to England. Are we on that, Steve?
I was the captain, bro.
Okay, right. So Steve's team, you were the captain. Steve's team went to England. Mr. Lionel Turner took them to England. And in 75 and in 76, we were the first youth team that left Bermuda to play in a football tournament overseas.
Wow.
That was in 1976. So this is the 50th year. So we're going to have an event. So we'll just up Somerset the other day starting to plan that event. But talking about giving back, the reason I give back because people took out the time to me when I was young. People like number one, Lionel Turner from West End Primary, invited me.
They went to Cleveland.
To invite Lionel Turner invited me as a 9-year-old. That's when we just had bantams and juniors. So at 9, I was playing bantams. That was like under 14.
Yes.
So Lionel Turner, Dwayne Tricks Richardson, who was my first coach at Somerset.
Okay.
We were talking. We had this conversation the other day. How these guys impacted us when we were younger. So it was Mr. Turner, Tricks, Reggie Perman, Clyde Philpott, those four, Myron Bean, these guys were
I
instrumental
wonder
in
if you should say Myron Bean.
Myron Bean. They were instrumental in our development, not just as football players. And if you look at a lot of guys who we came up with, Steve, they lived like productive lives in the community. You know, so my thing has always been to give back. And people ask, you know, why you still at it? Because people took out the time to make sure that I stayed on the right path. You know what I mean? So it's very important to me to give back and try to, you know, keep our boys on the straight and narrow. You know what I mean? But giving back is very important to me. Very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, I know both of you gentlemen are heading to Cyprus next week. Well, Steve, this week for you. Mr. Fisher, you're going out next week, or you're going out this week?
No, I'm going out next week. Yeah.
Okay. It's a big opportunity for Bermuda, and as you say, an opportunity. If Georgia comes short, we have two guys that could actually capitalize on that, and you know, and that will be a massive. Well, three guys that would be a massive accomplishment for such a tiny island. But you know, I think the boys will feel as if the island will support them, and I know with you guys, they'll hear you.
Yeah.
Just like I heard you in Costa Rica, Steve.
Okay. Yeah, we make a lot of noise.
Yeah. So with that, I want to thank you both for joining us this evening, taking us back to what was it? 95, 96, 97, first Davis Cup. Mr. Fisher, you as the president, Steve, you as one of the players, and look how far we've come.
Earl, can I ask one more question, Earl?
Sure, Dennis.
To both of you guys, man, because football has taken me all over, like for free. What is it like for you guys? Because you're going to Cyprus, mercy. What is it like for you guys to travel, like representing your country, rather as an administrator for Fisher and Steve? What is it like for just to represent your country? Because like growing up in Somerset, you know, we had choices. We had choices. Right, you could either go left where it's a little or whatever, or you could go right. You know, I have friends who, oh man, don't worry about no national squad. No. Being focused. So, what is it like for you guys to represent Bermuda, like all over the world,
I got to defer to you, Steve, because I just represented Bermuda that one time in '95 in DR, but it was a great honor for me. But so, Steve, I defer to you.
Mr. Fisher and gentlemen, I would have traveled anyway, but through tennis, I've gone to places that I would never have traveled to. Any island in the Caribbean I've been to through tennis, Spanish speaking or English speaking. That's one thing. But Central America is part of our region. And I've been all over Central America, playing tennis myself, coaching the Davis Cup team. Every year it's in a different place, usually. And I've often traveled with the under-12s, the under-14s, the under-16s, and continue to do so. I just asked if I could go with the under-16s to Guatemala, where I've been twice already. But my point is, like, those kinds of places I never would have gone to. Cyprus in a couple of days' time, I never would have gone to Cyprus. So yes, Dennis, tennis has taken me all over our region, and I haven't ever had to pay.
So that's
I've had to pay in other ways, and I've been glad to do so.
So that's where you learn how to salsa dance and all that. There, good.
That's
Let
really
me be a secret out, man. What you doing?
Oh yeah. Certainly, gentlemen.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
So Steve, you said that. Are you the manager of your son's new job? Will you be
I am
traveling
not
with him?
That's something.
Self-proclaimed manager.
Yes, I'll be an assistant something.
There you go.
I know I'll join him. I'll join him from time to time, I'm sure. When he's traveling, wherever he travels.
Congratulations to him on
Fabulous.
accomplishing
Yeah,
a
fabulous.
big feat
Thank you.
for
Thank
the
you.
region. So job well done.
Good.
So we'll end tonight with saying good luck to Bermuda next week in Cyprus. And again, safe travels to both of you as you're going to watch this historic moment for Bermuda tennis. And hopefully things go well. And if they don't, it's a learning part that would definitely make sure that guys will want to get back to that position next year or this year and fight for it all over again with what experience they learned this time around. So with that, we say good night. Thank you very much. And again, safe travels to Cyprus next week.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Have a good night.
You
Take
too.
care.